What's going on, guys? Got a big show for you today. A lot to get into. We got finally got some Xbox next gen pricing and pre-order dates and all that stuff. We got a whole lot of games coming up as far as just pre-orders and stuff to get into as well as that. And I got quite a few pickups at the end of the show. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start off with the Xbox. So Xbox finally came out and announced this week their pricing, and then probably like the worst kept secret in gaming was the Xbox Series S finally got officially announced. But the Xbox Series X will be $499. Will be the price for that, and that's the big boy. And then you got the Xbox Series S, which will be $299, which will be a kind of like a powered, a little bit, not so powerful of a system. But they did show that thing is going to be pretty sufficient as far as what it can do, to where it's going to be able to run, I think, some of the current gen games like at 120 frames per second, and like the load times are going to be quite significant as far as like in drop down as what they are now. So it does seem like there's going to be a performance quite significant performance improvement from the current gen Xbox consoles. So that $299 price point is actually pretty interesting. And so the pre-orders for that are going to start, for both of those, are going to start September 22nd, and then the release date will be November 10th. So you got probably about a month and a half from the time pre-order start to when it actually launches. The only issue that I really have is just like the launch titles that are going to be available. I don't think that there's anything first party that I'm aware of now that Halo is not coming out. So you got some third party games. You got like Dirt 5. You got the Assassin's Creed was it Valhalla, and then you got the Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is these are all third party games that will be available. None of them are anything that, not saying that any of these are bad games whatsoever. I'm just saying that none of these are games that really interest me. But I know a lot of people are interested in these games. There's just too much coming out this year for me to jump on the Xbox. I think I definitely will get one down the road, but just no way I'm getting one this year. Just too much stuff coming out, and it's just too far down the priority list for me personally. But let me know what you think about the pricing and just like what you saw about the Series S and the Series X. What do you think? Were you happy? If you're an Xbox fan, are you happy with those pricing and your lineup at launch? I'm kind of curious as to how people feel about that just in general, especially more or less like Xbox fans, since I'm not necessarily like an Xbox fan per se. But yeah, that was pretty cool to finally get all that. On top of that, Xbox also, the Game Pass Ultimate is also going to start including EA Play. So EA Play is actually what EA Access was. So EA Access had kind of like a rebranding that changed to EA Play, and now EA Play is going to be bundled in with Xbox Ultimate Game Pass at no additional cost. Not sure really what the date is for that, but that's pretty cool. It's going to be like the Xbox Ultimate Game Pass is a really good deal, and now it's going to include the EA Play as well. So that's awesome. That's pretty awesome. So if you're an Xbox fan, I think you got to be pretty happy for that. But I'm not sure, like I said, what the exact date or when that's going to kick off. But pretty cool. Some good news for Xbox fans, I think, this week. Also, finally, I think just today, I want to say it is maybe this morning. I don't know if it came out yesterday or not, but the PS5 announced that they're going to be doing their event this Wednesday, September 16th. So that's what I'll be looking out for. I'm curious. I'm really hoping that's 500, not 600. But we will see. I'm kind of curious what all they have left to reveal, or just that they haven't already. I'm not going to hold my breath on any kind of backwards compatibility past the PS4. I think that is not going to happen. If it did, then I'll pay. Like I said, I'll pay whatever for the system if it has that. But I don't think that's coming. But it'll be really interesting to see what they actually have for this event. So I'll be covering that next weekend. We'll be talking about that, I'm sure. All right, next up, so Nintendo, after last week they dropped all the Mario 35th anniversary stuff. They had a pretty cool announcement this week. They announced Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. So this will basically be like expand on the Breath of the Wild story. It will show you Hyrule 100 years before the Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, allowing you to experience kind of like the events of the Great Calamity. So this will, in essence, be a prequel to the Breath of the Wild, but it won't be like a traditional Zelda game. Instead, it'll play like a Hyrule Warriors game, meaning you'll be battling like hundreds of enemies at a time. I've played a little bit of the Hyrule Warriors game. It's okay. But it's pretty cool. I know they're going to have the Breath of the Wild 2. It's supposed to come out next year, so that means that this is going to end up being like somewhat of a trilogy. Even though I don't know if you really, a lot of people won't classify this obviously as a traditional Zelda game, but the Breath of the Wild stuff in general will end up being a trilogy of games if you take them all collectively. But the release date for that is actually November 20th, so that's pretty cool. I'm curious what else Nintendo has up their sleeve this year, if they have anything else they're going to be dropping. They also did announce that the No More Heroes 3 was supposed to actually drop this year, but because of COVID, they're going to push it back and make sure that they have quality control on that really good for a 2021 release. But that was going to drop this year. Pretty interesting that it's not now. But as far as the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, the box art on that is freaking phenomenal. I actually love the box art on that, so don't know if I'll be picking that up this year or not. I may wait for a price drop, but we'll see. I haven't actually played through Breath of the Wild yet. I'm kind of interested if I should pick this up and play through it, if you just to get like kind of like a prequel, if it kind of touches some of those stories. I'm curious if it would make the Breath of the Wild story better or worse. Let me know what you think. If you've played it through Breath of the Wild, like what you think. But that'll be kind of an interesting twist to play through that before Breath of the Wild, seeing how it's kind of like the story 100 years before Breath of the Wild. But that's it as far as Nintendo. Next up, we have Astro, the Astro City Mini. Finally, they kind of, I think, announced like 10 games or something like that when they first announced it, and they kind of leaked another several, I think in August, and then they finally announced the rest of the game list for it this week. So there's going to be 36 games on that. And kind of like some of the newer games that they've announced since the initial announcement that stand out to me were Arabian Fight, Cotton, Thunder Force AC, and then like Space Harrier. There's a lot of Columns games, I think a lot of Puyo Puyo games, Shinobi, Shadow Dancer. So there's a lot of games on here, and remember, these are all arcade versions of the game. So this Astro City Mini is going to be 36 games, all arcade versions. And that thing is actually going to release, I think, in December. It still doesn't look like that thing is going to, at least not yet, it's not available for order in the US. Like, I pre-ordered mine from Amazon Japan. It looks like it's still available there when I've checked recently. And they also have like an arcade stick that you can order, and that's going to be like close to the same price of the unit itself. But the arcade stick looks really nice. I'm considering grabbing it, but we'll see. And then also they have like kind of like a little collectible stand that you can put your arcade unit on, and like a little stool to where it would look like an actual arcade unit, like in an arcade shop. But that's pretty. I think that's a lot cheaper. That's not near as much as, I think it's like $30-$40 maybe with the translation. But let me know about that, what you think about that game lineup in general, if you've seen it. I think it looks okay. There's definitely. It's not like how the Genesis Mini lineup was like. They didn't really miss on any. I feel like they missed on a couple of their slots on this. So there's definitely some good things there, and definitely some stuff that is so-so. But let me know what you think about that game lineup if you've seen it. But that's it as far as Astro City Mini. All right, next up we had the Ubisoft Forward this week, and that kind of like the big highlight for me was Scott Pilgrim versus the World. That's a game that came out, I think, digitally only. I want to say it was on the Xbox 360. It may have been on the PS3 as well. I'm not positive. But then it got kind of removed from the store due to, I think, like licensing or whatnot. It's a side-scrolling beat-em-up where you can play like cooperatively, and I completely missed it. But I've just heard so many stories from people about how great of a game this was. And that's going to be coming out with all the DLC included in the game. Unfortunately, there's no physical announced for that yet. Hopefully, Ubisoft decides to make one themselves, and it's going to be available on all platforms first of all. But Limited Run Games came out and said themselves that they have no plans of doing one because they haven't been contacted by Ubisoft. But I think Ubisoft needs to be able to do this themselves. I mean, they're a big enough publisher to where they can put this physically if they wanted to. But hopefully they do. If not, hopefully Limited Run picks it up so we don't have the problem that happened last time where it gets removed from stores. Also, there was the Prince of Persia, Sands of Time remake. I never played this game personally. I know a lot of people were kind of excited about this remake coming. To me, it was pretty disappointing for me. I had a hard time telling what was the original, what was the remake. I mean, it it looked pretty crappy. It looked like a last gen game in my opinion. The game is an alpha, so I guess it could get, you know, cleaned up quite a bit, and it doesn't come out until I think spring or summer of next year. So we'll see what happens with that. But let me know if you were looking forward to that game, what you thought about what you saw from it. Then you also got the Immortals Phoenix Rising, which is kind of like a Ubisoft version of Breath of the Wild. So it looks pretty interesting. If you're a fan of Breath of the Wild, this may be something that you kind of like want to pick up. But that was it as far as like what I saw that was interesting from Ubisoft. Let me know if there's something that I missed that you thought was pretty interesting. Next up, some upcoming games. This week we got the Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which is available this Friday. I got 2 pre-orders in for that. Hopefully at least one of them comes through and I can get it. But that game is already starting to sell out. Like Amazon has already sold out. It looks like it's still available as of today on GameStop and Best Buy. But like I said, that game don't know what the availability of that game is going to be. If you think you're going to want it, I would pick it up. Or if you're just a collector in general, I'd pick it up just because I think it's going to be valuable down the road. Also, this Friday is the WWE 2K Battlegrounds. And that's going to be a $40 title, like I said, on Xbox One, PS4, and Switch. I was going to pick that up now with the Mario, because I plan on playing the Mario 3D All-Stars on launch day. So I don't know if I'm still going to pick up the 2K Battlegrounds this week or not, just because I don't know if I'm going to have time to play it. But I really was looking forward to that a lot, and now so we'll see. But let me know if you're still going to pick that up, because like I said, I played the 2K Battlegrounds, the NBA version, and I loved it, so I was really looking forward to this one. But now, like I said, just too much stuff starting to come out. I may pick it up at the same time, but we'll see. Also, this past Friday was a Shantae Day at Limited Run Games, which is what I've been looking forward to for quite some time. And they actually had 3 game announcements, or not announcements, these were games that we knew were coming from the Limited Run event this summer. But you got the original Shantae game on the Game Boy Color, and that's going to be like a physical cart that plays on the actual Game Boy Color. You got that same game, the original Shantae game, is now going to be available on the Nintendo Switch. And then you're going to have Shantae Risky's Revenge on the Nintendo Switch. So all 3 of these games have standard versions as well as collector's editions available. They are all open pre-orders from now until September 11th. So go ahead and get your orders in for those if you want them. It looks like also Shantae Half Genie Hero is also available on the Switch and PS4. These are not limited run releases. They kind of came out a couple years ago. But apparently, like, these are starting to get quite collectible. It looks like they're not as readily available in stores or online as they used to be. So it looks like the prices for these have started creeping up, but they're going to have that available on the Switch and the PS4. I think it's from Exceed Games or something like that. So you can pre-order those as well if you've missed out on those. And also Samurai Jack. The Samurai Jack game is going to pre-orders close on that, I think, Sunday. So if you wanted to get Samurai Jack, then I would go ahead and make sure you get your pre-order in for that before it expires. One more thing coming up this week, and that's from Super Rare Games, and that's Freedom Finger. So it's kind of like a side-scrolling shooter with hand-drawn art and a lot of humor and a lot of attitude. This game looks like everything that I love in a video game, so I'm definitely picking this one up. But pre-orders on this start this Thursday, September 17th, and then the actual ship date is the next week on September 21st, which is pretty cool from Super Rare Games. I think they're in the UK, but they start shipping like really soon after their pre-orders go up. So it's 4,000 copies. It will come with like trading cards, art book, I think interior art and stuff like that. So pretty cool. Keep an eye out for that if you like shooters or you've been collecting Super Rare games like me. All right, let's go ahead and get into some pickups. I got 3 new disc plates. So I got to start working on my firewall on my gamer, which has like no artwork or nothing on it. And I'm probably gonna put about like 10 of these or so up on that wall at least. But these are the first 3 I'm putting up there. I got this one. It's cool. It's actually like an Astro City. Looks like an Astro City arcade that he's playing, which it's not an Astro City, but it looks like one. And then you got like the little girl, the teenager drinking the soda with her boyfriend. The kids love this one. This is by far their favorite one that I've put up in there so far, and I just really like the colors and everything, and it just gives you a really cool feeling. But there's this series, I think this plate has about like 5 or 6 different of this kind of like this series of like artwork with like a kind of like arcade-ish type thing, and I think a couple of them have like this couple in it, but it's really cool, really colorful. Love, like I said, just love the artwork on that one. This one is like, it's pretty dull. It's a Galaga one, so this is going to go over my Galaga arcade one-up in the game room. Not, like I said, not near as cool, especially after the one over there, but I kind of wanted a Galaga one. It was the only one that they had that I liked. This is one that I'm going to put over my my Street Fighter cocktail cabinet. So I end up getting a horizontal running one because that one sits a little bit lower, so it's going to look pretty nice above it. There's a bunch of them on there as far as Street Fighter ones, and I had a hard time picking out one that I really liked. And I actually got this one. Like I said, it's the first horizontal one that I've gotten, but I definitely like the artwork on that one with just like all those characters. Those like are all the characters that are included for the most part in that cabinet. It doesn't start getting into that cabinet doesn't have any of the alpha games or Third Strike or anything like that. Next up, we got Anakin Skywalker. This is a Kotobukiya Artifacts statue. This pre-order actually was supposed to release in July, and then it kind of got delayed, and it didn't end up coming out until I think August. So I've had this for a couple weeks, and I just forgot to. I keep forgetting every week to show it, but like I said, I was really anticipating. Anakin is probably my favorite Star Wars character, which I've rewatched all of them just a lot the last couple years, and I just went from hating the prequels to now I feel like almost like the prequels are like my favorite trilogy now. Which is really strange, I know, but that's kind of just how I feel about it. So next up, let's get into some games. So first we got Slain Back from Hell on the Nintendo Switch. So kind of like this is a game, it's a 2D action platformer, and I played through Valfaris like about a year ago, or almost a year ago on the Nintendo Switch, and I really loved that game, and a subscriber actually told me that it was the same team that made Slain Back from Hell made Valharis. So I always kind of was going to go back and pick it up, and I keep forgetting, and I just went ahead and grabbed it before it started. I feel like it's one of those games, it's like there's not that many copies of it. It's not really widely distributed. To some degree it is. It's not limited, but it's games like that sometimes pop off the radar, and the next thing you know, they're like $60, $70. And I want to say it was like $30 or something, like 30, 35 on Amazon. I got Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3 on the Nintendo Switch. This is obviously a Switch exclusive. I wanted to get this when it came out, but like I just was waiting for a little bit of a price drop, and I think Walmart had a deal on this a couple weeks ago, and I think it was $45 or something like that. Pretty oddly enough, they actually sent me the European edition, which I don't know how that happens. I don't know how Walmart US gets a European version of that game, but whatever. And I talked about last week how there were some sales at Best Buy. I got Yoshi's Crafted World for $40, and also Super Mario Maker 2 was $40 as well. I had Mario Maker 2. I got it. I want to say at launch day, but my nephew came up, and he is such a Mario nut. When he was here for like 5 or 6 days, he could not put this down. So I just sent it home with him. I mean, he enjoyed it so much. I'm like, dude, I told my brother-in-law, I said, just take it, man. I'm like, he plays it more than my kids do, so just take it as like a Christmas present or something. But obviously, I needed it, so I just waited for it to go back on sale. I picked this up a little while ago too. This is Forza Horizon 3. This is supposed to be removed from the Microsoft Store in September, I think, due to licensing. So I went ahead and picked it up physically before it. I don't know if the price will end up going up or not because it's not available in the store anymore. Microsoft doesn't really print much physical media, so who knows. But I had that game when I got my Xbox One S at Black Friday one year. It came bundled with Forza Horizon 3 and like the Hot Wheels version, but it was only the digital version, which kind of pissed me off. It's just Microsoft. they literally like hate physical media, so it's kind of irritating. But picked it up. Like I said, it's supposed to be removed from the store sometime this month. So just if you haven't got it and you kind of want it, go ahead and grab it. Halloween is coming up, and I like collecting and like horror movie steelbooks. So I ended up getting the Evil Dead steelbook from Best Buy. I think it's $10 is what it was. I've actually never seen it, and I really want to see that movie. There's a couple more that are coming out. I think there's like a Halloween steelbook that's coming up this week or next week as well at Best Buy. But they have a bunch of horror movie steelbooks that are kind of looks like they're like newer releases. So if you're into like horror movies and steelbooks, you just kind of check Best Buy. They seem like they have quite a few of them floating around out there right now. Also, this is something that I wanted to talk about previously. These are like Sega Saturn replacement cases. So I've gotten these multiple times. They come in like a 10 pack of on Amazon, and I bought in a couple sets of 10, and they work for, they're the replaceable for Saturn, Sega CD, and I think the tall version PlayStation ones as well. But they're really nice. They're really good. So if you got like some Saturn cases that are not very good, or Sega CD, and you want to replace them or make your own cover art or manuals or whatever, 10 for $60, I think is what they are. But the problem is that they got removed, were unavailable from the store for several months. And it was really sketchy because they were unavailable for several months, didn't say when they're going to be available again, and then a limited run comes out and starts selling these same type of cases, and then with shipping and everything, it was going to be like, they were charging like, I think, over 100. And I was like, dude, did they seriously just freaking buy these guys? I was like, did they buy them out and start selling them? I was stressed out there for a minute, but luckily enough, they didn't. They're available on Amazon again. So if you need some and you were looking for them, like I said, really good value for what you get there. And then lastly, I got a bunch of these. I've been ordering these. These are the Game Gear cases from Custom Game Cases. I ordered the ones I showed before, and like I said, I really love these things. And they take so long to get because the guys it's like one or two guys that make them, but they are great cases, and pretty affordable too. So I'm just going to order 10 now and wait like a month or two until they show up, and then order another 10 until I get all the ones that I need. But I definitely would highly suggest those if you're a Game Gear collector and you want cases. These cases with the cover art are really, they're top notch. They are definitely worth it. I would definitely suggest them. But that is it, guys. That is a lot of stuff we went through today, and just let me know what you're looking forward to this week. Are you looking forward to the Mario All-Stars, WWE 2K Battlegrounds, or that PS5 news? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys next week later.